Guidance is internal. Ignition sequence starts. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Permission to board. Permission to come aboard. Permission to board. Permission to bring me aboard. Permission to come aboard.
Welcome to the Permission Granted podcast. Here's DA.
All right, welcome inside the freshest edition of the Permission Granted podcast, everybody. Thanks for being with us. Little reminder that there's multiple ways you can get the podcast. Numero uno is on SoundCloud or iTunes. The easiest way to find that to subscribe for free is simply to search The DA Show CBS Sports, and then you can subscribe, and that'll be uploaded automatically to whatever your device you're using. Also, it's on YouTube every week, youtube.com/The DA Show. Probably takes about 24 hours to get it up on YouTube, so you'll have a bit of a delay there, but it's always up there as well. And I always tweet out the link and post it on Facebook also. So if you just want the link every week, but want to look at it from me, you can follow me on Twitter, DA on CBS, or on the Facebook page. Definitely go to the Facebook page and like it, facebook.com/The DA Show. So we're coming off the Super Bowl, one of the craziest Super Bowls ever. There's no question. A lot of debate surrounding the Seahawks decision and all that jazz. So we'll have Mraz coming up here a little bit later on, and we'll discuss him. We'll also discuss what he ate on Super Bowl Sunday. I felt like I had a pretty good day eating as well, so we'll compare and contrast notes there. But our first guest is a huge Patriots fan, which is just perfect. Really funny guy. You've seen him on a number of specials, I'm sure. He's kind of all over the place. And he is an Emmy Award-nominated writer and comedian and actor. He's awesome. He is hysterical. Nick DiPaolo joining us here on the DA Show. Nick, how are you, bud?
Good. How you doing, DA?
Man, I'm doing tremendous. Thanks so much for the time. And you're on Cloud 9, I know. I heard the podcast. You are thrilled about your Patriots right now.
Normally I'd be thrilled, but I'm extra thrilled after, the whole world coming down on us and making us out to be the Nixon administration. And absolutely. I mean, not only do we win the Super Bowl, but then, I don't know, they're furthering this story, and it turns out that young ball boy was like a, 90-year-old guy, and we all know how long it takes for a 90-year-old man to urinate, so it's all making sense. I got a prostate the size of an overinflated NFL football,
So
I have the prostate of Hyman Roth.
So it's amazing. The last two Super Bowls that the Patriots have played in, you had the Tyree catch and then the Manningham catch. And both those were incredible catches that led to the game-winning touchdown, to the final drive. When Curse catches the crazy leg catch, roll around, are you thinking, my God, this is happening to us again?
We have a cat, and I grabbed it by the throat, and I threw it outside. I almost started crying. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. It almost made me, when that happened, it almost made me go, oh, my God, maybe we really did deflate those balls, and this is coming back to bite us in the ass. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe. And then you had that guy, Harmon, for the Patriots, hurtling over the play before it's even over. And good thing Butler, good thing he had the, wherewithal to push that guy out of bounds. So he could have got up and walked in.
Yeah, it's actually a good point. Yeah, that's an underrated play by Butler in that instance.
Yeah, I mean, because everybody sort of assumed it was an incomplete pass. I mean, that kid, everybody's talking about what a bad call Pete Carroll made. I'm talking about maybe the greatest defensive play to win a Super Bowl. Well, there's no doubt it's the best play to win a Super Bowl. And everybody's talking about I know we can argue the merits of the call, but how about the defensive play? And usually, DA, defensive backs, how many times, here's what I thought of when he made that pick. Right away, my mind went to 2007 Giants-Pats when Asante Samuel dropped the intercept. Nobody talks about this either. Remember Eli Manning with a little over a minute left?
Sure.
Threw it right at Asante Samuel, went right through his hands.
I think it would be an amazing interception if Samuel would have pulled it down. I mean, he had to be levitated, get both hands to the football. That would have been an amazing catch.
Yes, yeah.
No. That wasn't a gimme.
It was. Watch it again. He reached up, over his head, but it was nothing tough.
Oh, I think it was a tough catch.
Really?
Yeah, I really do. I thought it was a tough catch, but you're right. The odds end up evening out because Samuel doesn't make that play, and then you have a situation where a total unknown, and Samuel was a Pro Bowl player, a total unknown makes maybe the greatest defensive play in Super Bowl history.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It sort of reminded me of, remember Jack Squirek?
Yeah, Raiders, yeah.
I was in college at that time. I was in a fraternity, 35 guys. I was the only Raider fan. It was 34 against 1, and Squirek picked off Theismann right before the half.
But you're from Danvers, Mass. So how were you a Raider fan back in the day?
Well, I just liked dirty players. I had a poster of George Atkinson and Jack Tatum in my bedroom. My father always pulled for the bad guys in the movies. I think it's an Italian thing. I don't know. So I love their reputation they have. That's why, and I was always a Patriots fan. I'm just saying. When you're young and impressionable, I like the purple people eaters and I got sucked into the NFL marketing thing years ago,
Well, also at that point in time, there wasn't a lot to root for the Patriots back in the early '80s. So you had to pull for. They were the Patriots were not the last team playing. That's for sure back then.
What do you mean? You didn't like Randy Vataha, Tiny Mac Heron? But I mean, when you think about what we've sat through, between Jim Plunkett again, who went to the Raiders and became a champion twice, I think, but. And Grogan was a tough nut and pretty good quarterback, but Grogan, Tony Eason, and Bledsoe was pretty good. But what was sat through, and then Tom Brady. I'm sorry, but he just, for me, you worked in Boston, right, D.A.?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
Well, Bobby Orr was always my local hero god. But Tom Brady has surpassed him Sunday.
Wow, so that's interesting because most people would earmark their sports icon idol from when they were growing up, and that was Bobby Orr for you. Rarely does it change when you get older, but for you, Brady took the mantle.
Yeah. What he's accomplished is just, Bobby Orr, arguably the greatest hockey player, and I think you can make the argument that Tom Brady is maybe the greatest football player, definitely the greatest quarterback. Greatest football player, in my opinion, in the history of the NFL is Lawrence Taylor.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any defensive guy to have that kind of impact where the offense has to adjust to him, to me, is just... I know a little bit about it. I played in high school and college, and I'm going to go back. I'm going to Google when I get off the phone with you and watch that Asante Samuel prop.
Well, now you can because you have a parade tomorrow, so you're okay.
I know they're going to have a parade tomorrow. How many people are going to die in snowbanks in Boston?
I don't know. Well,
they're going to find Fitzy and Obi,
they can't,
under a 12-foot snowbank with a bottle of Jameson in a snorkel jacket.
Well, they can't wait because it just keeps snowing up there, so they can't wait through it.
Yeah, I mean, my parents live up there, and they haven't left the house since October 11th. They're living on Cheez-Its and homemade wine.
So when it's second and goal from the 1, are you going, my God, we're going to lose this football game, or did you have faith the Patriots would get the stop there?
No, I said we're going to lose.
Yeah.
You got Lynch, and I actually woke up the next morning, and the first thing I felt was a pit in my stomach for Pete Carroll.
Really?
Which is because I've made huge mistakes in my life. Blowing up. When you're young, you have a steady girlfriend, you end up getting caught cheating, and you wake up the next morning. Oh, was I really with her sister? That type of feeling.
Right.
And I just he's the first thing that came to mind. I kind of like Pete Carroll, believe it or not.
I agree. I think he's a likable dude.
Yes, he's a likable dude. I never believed in that. Oh, you're gonna be a player's coach. I never really believed that philosophy, but he has been. Even in college, and even when he was with the Pats, I thought he was a little too soft. But now you see how these players gravitate to him, and he's obviously, with his success at USC and what he's done with the Seahawks, this guy can coach his ass off. You don't want to put the ball in the air, I guess, but that play probably works 9 out of 10 times, and he got a little too cute, though. I think that's how I sum it up. He got a little too cute.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. What I found interesting working up in Boston, having a lot of family that went to school in Boston, knowing a lot of people up there, was that there's now this real great interesting divide among sports fans. people like yourself who remember the bad old days really appreciate this last decade. And now there are the 20-somethings and maybe even early 30-somethings that have no idea it's not a birthright to win titles. I mean, they just keep having duck boat parades every year, and everybody under the age of 30 has no idea this isn't supposed to happen to a city.
Yeah, anybody who's not on Lipitor thinks that they're owed a championship. I went to a Red Sox. I was lucky enough to get tickets to the clinching game of the World Series a couple of years ago already. Yeah. That's 2 years ago. Yeah. And I'm at the game. I'm at Fenway. I'm looking around, and everybody's pretty. Everybody's good looking. It's like date night, even for the World Series.
Yep.
I remember going there when I was a kid in the 70s. It would be a guy next to me in his late 70s with a cigar hanging out of his mouth and a Red Sox cardigan sweater with a belly, with nothing on under the sweater, a veiny belly hanging out of the bottom of it. and I actually saw people holding up babies at the World Series and like strangers taking pictures of the baby. When I went to the Sox game in the 70s, the only time anybody would hold up a baby is to stop a foul ball from knocking over their beer. So it's really changed. And you're right. I mean, these millennial kids, they don't know. I sat through the Patriots were the biggest joke. I started following football, DA, when I was 1968. So I sat through some lean years.
Yeah.
We finally get to the Super Bowl in what,
decades?
80? Yes. As Dennis Leary said, I have the track marks on my arms to prove it.
Yeah.
And we had, we finally got to the Super Bowl in '85 against that Bears team that nobody was going to beat.
Yep.
And Tony Eason had his apron torn in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And who else? And then we lost to the Packers. And then was it Bart Scott that knocked Bledsoe out of the game? I mean, that was like a bolt.
Mo Lewis. Yeah, Mo Lewis.
Oh, Lewis. I'm sorry. I always want to pin it on Bart Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lewis. That's right. And it knocked one of Bledsoe's internal organs loose. And
that's true.
It really is. It ripped something inside him. He could hit.
Yeah. I think his spleen exploded. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Brady comes in, and this guy, I've never been so enamored with an athlete. I mean, even at 53, I usually don't take this stuff that serious, but what he's accomplished, him and Belichick, is just, I pinch myself, and Giants fans still bust my chops about us not being able to, I'm like, okay, keep living in the past. We're on to another title, but whatever.
What's really interesting about that whole dynamic is my cousin and my brother went to school up there, and that was in the 90s, and so I would go to a lot of games at Fenway or the Garden, and it was so negative and cynical. I mean, everybody assumed the Red Sox or the Celtics or the Bruins or the Patriots would lose. That was just the assumption. We'll find a way to screw this up.
That's right.
And now you fast forward 15 years later, and the assumption is we'll find a way to win a championship. It's kind of it's a bizarro world for a lot of Boston fans that remember those days.
Yeah, well, that's why I think I'm the perfect age, because I've seen both.
Yeah.
And I pinch myself. I've been pinching myself since 2001.
Yeah.
But we've won what 9 world titles, the 4 sports teams in the last 14 years or so, and yeah, it's title town, baby. And it's again, even as an adult, it's just. I don't know. Sports is just such a big part. I thought I would get tired by now with the NFL. I got a little tired of all the political correctness and the pink socks and the whatever. Yeah. But as long as the Patriots are looked at as the evil empire, I'm still in shock. But,
so let me ask you about your career from that standpoint as well, because you're a guy that doesn't like the political correctness. That's not where you come from, and so since that's
who does?
Yeah, I don't know, but since that's been kind of the evolution of society, how have you handled that in your career and your act and what you've done?
Apparently not too well. I'm sitting over a card table doing a podcast in my basement next to a dead mouse. Hey, look, the people, this is just my opinion, but the political correctness doesn't come from the way I vote. I kind of lean right, and all the PC crap comes from college campuses where you can't find a conservative. And the people that run the industry that I'm in kind of side with those people on college campuses and then speech codes and all this garbage. So, I sort of made my mark on tough crowd by being I'm not even that conservative, but everything's relative in show business. I guess I am, but so it helped me on Tough Crowd to people. Hey, who's this guy with a big? But like I said, the people who run it don't exactly dig my stuff. And I'm the only guy I know that has 76,000 followers, and I'm not. I'm on Twitter, and I'm not. What do they call it?
You're not verified yet. No blue check for you.
Yeah. So explain that one to me.
No blue check with 76,000 followers. This is ridiculous.
Yeah. So explain that to me. Even my wife who calls me paranoid all the time, she goes, "That's personal."
The Twitter people don't like your act. They don't like
all it takes is one. Trust me. Who do you think runs Twitter? It's not a bunch of rednecks. Trust me. It's some kid with glasses going, I remember him on Tough Crowd. He's a bully.
So have you noticed a different response over the years to your type of stuff?
Well, yeah, I found my own market. But I'm in the belly of the beast here. I perform in New York City every night.
Yeah.
And about once every 2 months, a table of young college girls will get up and go, "You're just an a-hole," and storm out of the club.
Really?
And because they're intolerant. The people who pretend they're so tolerant are the most intolerant ones. And I know this. There's no better barometer than being a comedian, because you go all over the country. And you play to groups of people, and the minute I touch on the feminist stuff and throw like a girl, they can't sit in their seats and keep their mouth shut. They've been so brainwashed.
So
I was laughing at that commercial, that throw like a girl, run like a girl. I was belly laughing. I go, yeah, that's exactly how girls throw and run.
How about how depressing so many of the Super Bowl commercials were?
Well, if you go on my Twitter, somebody just tweeted me this article. I don't know if you heard my whole podcast. I went off on that too. That's how it's been it's been trending over the years.
Yeah.
And again, and if you notice, it's mostly feminist stuff. It's if you listen to the commercials, you think it's 1966 and they're still barefoot in the kitchen. It's all a myth. It's all baloney. And then I watch the Sunday morning talk shows, and they both do a piece yesterday, a nice hit piece on the sport of football itself, and they don't mention that more kids have died falling off their skateboards in the last 3 years than playing youth football. It's just so slanted. It's a deballing, I call it, and it's just what's more. I mean, football is the American pastime, and the people who run the networks. And I just somebody sent me an article on Twitter. Anyways, if you go to my Twitter at Nick DiPaolo, and there's an article that somebody sent, and it really explains it, how dour these. I mean, football is. You know this, DA. Who said? I forget. It was a great sports writer who said sports is the toy department of life.
Yeah. I forget who said that, but that's kind of an epic quote.
Read somebody. Every sports writer was named Red Beck.
Red Barber, maybe?
Yeah, it might have been. It might have been Red Barber. But it's true though. We used to use sports as an escape from cancer and domestic violence. And I know it's become a great way to exploit it because the NFL is so popular. But we used to use sports as a release and escape from real life. Now I can't watch a game without being lumped in with wife beaters and kids with cancer. And I mean, will somebody please cure breast cancer so I don't have to look at my favorite NFL team dressed like a float at the Gay Pride Parade? I mean, every October with the pink stuff, it's like.
The commercials were outrageous because not only did you have the PSAs for domestic violence, but then you also had, I guess it was Nationwide Insurance about the kid that dies. Then you had all the commercials about how you need to be a dad, you got to hug your son. Then it was the race car driver that leaves his son. And I'm just like, we must be an emotional wreck of a country if this is what's being I mean, McDonald's is selling hamburgers with hugs now? What is going on?
Yeah. So it's great. I get a free hamburger and lice. I'm not going to hug anybody that works at McDonald's. No offense. But, yeah, no, it's just again, and I don't want to politicize everything, but that's how libs think. They dour. They wake up, oh, the planet is warming. Oh, Ebola. You ever have a good day? Can you put it away for 5 minutes? It's just they don't, you're right.
Are we just all on Prozac, though? Is it who's running this, or is it just this is what we respond to now?
I respond to it with anger and have been since 1995. I mean, I pointed out on one of my first CDs, like I think it's called Born This Way. I do a bit on there about a Diet Coke commercial there was a Diet Coke commercial where a construction worker is jackhammering, and a bunch of girls whistle at him. Ooh. You know, that was the first one I remember, and I go, oh, really? So you really think that bothers a guy when a bunch of chicks are whistling at us? You know?
Could you imagine how thrilled we would be?
Of course. Exactly. I don't even remember the bit. I'm not doing it justice, but that was like in the mid-'90s, the early '90s when I did that joke. And I've been watching it ever since. I mean, it's just hilarious how the men are portrayed in these commercials, and the husbands are just doofuses who are trying to light the grill and it blows up in their face, and the wife is, she's a soccer mom, a dentist, a gynecologist, and a superwoman with flipper feet, and I just, it's so funny. It's all there's a message there, and people are being conditionally brainwashed, and they're buying it. It's all politically correct. There's nothing that goes. I like that ad this year, the Dove soap ad about that was. I'm going to go buy Dove soap. It was actually like pro father, So maybe we're making some. I usually use Irish Spring, but maybe we're making inroads.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because you've had some on-air kind of run-ins with Louis, and I thought it was so interesting because you guys can go back and forth, and it looks so natural. But I don't know, is that where you guys can just kind of have the cameras rolling and just kind of be yourselves, or is that also scripted?
That was scripted, believe it or not. That's what I'm so proud of, that scene.
Yeah.
Because if you watch it, you think. But me and Louis and I have known each other for 20 years, mm-hmm. and we would never in real life come to blows over politics. I would never do that with anybody. But it's not worth it. But that's why, I was so proud of that scene. That was all scripted, and I think it's pretty obvious when he beats me in the fight that it's scripted.
It's very scripted, right, right, because he's on top of you. There's no chance that's happening.
It's his show and he wrote it. But I love the fact that he let me, let me do that scene. It was like the first scene of the series, and But I wonder how many people that run, like I said, are in the business go, oh, that really is how DiPaolo is. We're not going to cast him.
Yeah, I wonder. It's interesting. Well, you guys, you have so many tour stops coming up. We're on in Albany, and you're going to be up there in Albany at the Comedy Works at Wolves coming up end of the month. And then you're in Arlington, VA. We're on there as well. We're in Phoenix as well, House of Comedy. So you've got all these stops coming up. How has life on the road been for you?
I don't. Luckily, I don't have to go out, 30 weeks a year like I did when I was a younger comic. I hate the road. I mean, you grow to hate it. It's fun when you're in your 20s and you're getting chlamydia every other week from a waitress. But now it's. I got tired of that a long time ago. The only fun part of being on the road is when you're on stage. I mean, but the rest of it, leading up to it, it's just waiting in line at airports and checking into hotels where you get a rash from the pillow and. It's there's nothing really glamorous about it. Again, unless you're young and drinking and doing drugs, and you can stay up till 5 a.m. and still do a decent show. But I'm at the point now. I get back to my room. I could have a couple girls, asking me, a couple of strippers want me to go out drinking with them, and I say no, and I'm back in my room for Sports Center, and I'm happy I'm there.
Now, did you ever think?
Plus, they're male strippers. Did I mention that?
Did you ever think there'd be a day 20 years ago where you'd be turning down strippers at 4 a.m. at the bar?
Well, male ones, yes.
Yeah, okay, right.
Ones from Tulsa, maybe. A couple of them have a limp and missing a tooth, but. No, so the road is not that glamorous. But like I said, when you're on stage, it feels like it did when I started, 25 years ago. It's just as fun when it's a Friday night and there's 250 people or 60, and you're ripping the room apart. It's still just as fun, and that I do love, and luckily I've done some other stuff, where I had money coming in, and thank God for Sirius, Raw Dog, and those radio stations where residual checks come in. I don't have to spend 30 weeks on the road, and I don't miss that. But
Yeah. Well, you've got all these tour stops. So for those of you listening, you can check out Nick DiPaolo and at all these events, as we mentioned, Albany, Arlington, VA, Phoenix, Minneapolis, all coming up, Philadelphia in the next couple of months. The complete tour schedule is at nickdipalo.com. That's also where you can get your podcasts, which are great. I mean, you're doing these all the time. How often are you taping these?
I do one a week. I usually record it in the afternoon on Monday and release it that night. And absolutely love it because I love radio. And I was looking at your resume. What an impressive resume you got, man. I absolutely love radio. I like it as much as stand-up because you can be funny conversationally and not be interrupted by a bachelorette party or some drunken idiots. So, yeah, right. You know what I mean? I really do. I absolutely, I like to hear myself talk. What can I say? And so, yeah, and if you go to nickdip.com, I also have a brand new 1 hour special out, stand-up, called Another Senseless Killing, which just came out January 2nd. Eventually it'll be released on iTunes and Amazon at the end of this month. But they can go to nickdip.com and get Another Senseless Killing. They tell me it's in the top 100 in pre-orders on iTunes. So if you're fans of my comedy, go get it. And yeah, and the podcast I absolutely love. It's a blast, and so awesome. I still have feelers out there for other radio jobs too. So
isn't it amazing also how technology has kind of changed everything? Where now your content that you're putting out is podcasts and iTunes and streaming video and pre-orders. I mean, it's just things have changed so dramatically, and I think it's awesome because fans can get your stuff a million different ways now.
Well, it's a new game, man, and it's good for guys like me because I just told you, like, I don't think that people in legitimate, Hollywood dig my view. Look, that could be just paranoia, but there's very few people politically in Hollywood that lean right, and so, but like you said, with all this new technology, there's a whole new. What you do is you develop your own army of fans.
Yeah.
Between the podcast, and you feed them, and you grow that army. Which is a godsend. The fact that this special I shot, I did all this myself and threw it on my website with nobody involved. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of work. Don't get me wrong. I mean, my Raw Nerve special I did with a production company. It was on Showtime, and about 2 months after I shot it, this one took me about a year to get out. But it really is a whole new world. And the technology, it's moving so fast, man. And I'm not the best with the technology. This is a true story, D.A. Last week, I'm in SAG, so they send me those movies that are up for SAG Awards.
Yeah, it's about the only benefit I see from being in that union.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm like, okay, so I get a movie every couple of years. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, let's see what Jennifer Aniston's doing again. So I get the disc. This is a true story. I go down on my, for some reason it doesn't work upstairs in a DVR. I go down on my laptop on my desk, and I slip it in, and first I know there's something wrong because when you put the disc in, you should really hear it real quick. Right. I don't hear anything. And then I'm looking on the computer. It's not reading it anywhere. So I'm looking on my hard drive. Now I can't find it. And this is about 25 minutes later. Now I'm hitting the eject button, and I'm squaring for like 10 minutes. And so now I Google how you get a disc out of your laptop. And I'm on Google for another half hour. So I've wasted an hour of my life. So finally, I'm like Christopher Moltisanti in The Sopranos. I'm like, Adriano, this thing ate my disc. I can't. So my wife comes down. She goes, let me see this. She sits down. I'm like watching TV, and she's not even down here 3 minutes. She starts giggling, and I go, what? She lifts my laptop. I didn't even it didn't even go in the slot. It was under the computer. I can't even say, look, I'm bad with technology. You can't even say that. That's like, oh my God, this kid might be brain dead. True story.
You have a problem putting keys in keyholes as well?
Yes, I was locked out of my house for 3 days. Yeah. You can imagine my sex life.
They changed the locks on me, honey. No, they didn't. That's not the doorknob.
My poor wife hasn't been satisfied in 4 years. Now we don't.
That's too funny. Follow Nick DiPaolo on Twitter at Nick DiPaolo. Let's get this guy verified over here. And you can check out
make
his
some
website.
calls. Yeah, you're a powerhouse in the media.
Right. Yeah, we'll get the Twitter people on the horn. You make this happen right now. at nickdip.com to the website, man. We love your stuff over here on the show, man. It's really a pleasure to have you here on the show. And we got to do this again because I'm sure you guys are going to have another duck boat parade in like 6 months or so. So
I know.
Yeah.
I know it. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I would love to do this again. And the fact that Brady says he wants to play like another 4 or 5 years.
Forget it. You're going to be hard for the next 4 to 5 years now.
It's going to be like a Viagra thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I'm going to have to get some witnesses to bring me to the hospital.
Nick, man, great talking to you, buddy. Thanks so much.
Hey, I appreciate it, DA.
All right, thanks to Nick DiPaolo for our being our podcast guest this week. Really funny stuff from Nick. And we remind you that we are always available on both iTunes and SoundCloud. You can very easily find us by searching The DA Show, CBS Sports, and you'll find us on both. I also tweet them out and put them on Facebook as well if you want to check out the podcast. Remember that we do this off-air, permission-granted podcast each and every week, all stuff that you're not going to hear on the air, unique content on top of the normal night-to-night full show podcast. So Mraz joins me now, and it was interesting to talk to a guy in Nick who is a Patriots fan but also a Boston fan that remembers the bad old days because can you believe what has happened since 2001? They have won 9 championships, have had 9 parades since 2001. I mean, there are kids that are under the age of 30 that have no idea that Boston sports wasn't always good.
It's sickening. And mind you, we discussed this off the air. I've experienced 7 championships by the time I'm 27. And even the 9 with the pay seems excessive. I'm seeing little kids with signs, this is my 9th parade. And it's making me want to throw up. Enough's enough. How many spoils do you get?
I think that the fans that really remember the bad old days, those that are probably over the age of 40, because boy, if you're 35 and younger, I mean, even 35, yeah, you might remember some of the 90s. Maybe you became a fan of the late 80s. But then you're only kind of going through 10 or 12 years of torture. You have to be even older than that. You got to be, I think, older than the age of 40 to have like a good 20 years where you remember the really bad old days when everything went wrong. Outside of the Celtics winning, everything went wrong all the time.
Right, because you still had that mid-90s Super Bowl with Bledsoe, too, that you at least went to. So you had a good year in between in the 90s with your football team. But, yeah, it's really remarkable. It's almost unbelievable. And even looking at the 9 championships that they've had, and everybody's put all these pictures up in the banners, if you see any of these Boston fans on Twitter, it's almost, I think, the most surprising thing of it all is that somehow in the stretch, the Bruins and Celtics have only won 1 when the Celtics had the big 3 and the Bruins have been this good.
It feels like they should have won more just because Boston's always in the mix.
Right, reading that, I'm like, wow, they've only won 1? Like, that's even startling to even think that.
And the Celtics have been to another NBA Finals and lost to the Lakers. And then the Bruins went to a Stanley Cup Finals and lost to the Blackhawks.
Right.
But, you know, they just collect championships. And here you have cities like Buffalo and Cleveland and Atlanta that are just, you know, my God, give it Detroit. Give me anything. Just give me anything at this point.
Atlanta's a perfect example. They just went on the most surreal win streak we've seen in forever in the NBA, and that was like their moment. And Boston sitting here celebrating their 9th championship in the last however so long.
Speaking of the Super Bowl, what did you eat for the Super Bowl?
Well, as usual, I went out with a bang.
You went out with a bang. Now you gave us a lot of football foods of the week, but you only made one of them for
and there was a little off-the-field incident that happened around my family.
The field? Was it your incident?
No, it wasn't my incident, but there was, a long Saturday night led to my dad not getting a lot of sleep, and it just everything got kind of jumbled on Sunday. So we had
but nothing health related.
No.
Right.
More funny than anything, but that's off the air.
Okay.
We basically I went out and I got some Hooters wings. I made sure I wasn't going to make my own wings. A lot of work there in that situation. I made my Velveeta cheese fries. I added bacon to them, which was excellent.
But Old Bay seasoning.
The Old Bay seasoning. I really got that seasoning going. And then we did pigs in a blanket, which is always. My mom is very big. Every Super Bowl, she makes her potted chili. She's usually good for one football Sunday a year making that, and the Super Bowl. It's the one thing. My mom was never a good cook, and she knows this. My whole life could butcher anything.
Your dad's the cook.
My dad's actually the cook. He's worked around food his whole life. My mom can make a decent chicken cutlet. Other than that, you're straying too far. The one thing she excels at is chili.
Okay.
She gets that chili going to the crock pot's excellent. So she wants to take care of us. She made the chili, which was great. She broke out taco shells, cheese, rice. So you could almost turn them into chili tacos. But, in my house, you put chili on anything. We're sitting in the pigs in a blanket or dipping in the chili. That's like we're eating little mini chili dogs.
Ooh.
Those were excellent. And then, of course, we did the mozzarella sticks. These little taco bite nacho bite things that we did. I'm probably forgetting something, man. Of course, the wings, and then a ton of the chips and dips, whether we had the French onion dips, the salsa, everything like that, all spread out. And we have cheese doodles, pretzels, Ruffles, Tostitos. It doesn't matter. You're eating a ton of stuff, and it doesn't end. It's a disgrace.
My mom went a little off the board, and I love this for Super Bowl. I tend to watch the Super Bowl with my dad. I grew up watching. That's how I got into football, was watching the Super Bowl with my dad, or when he was away on business, I would videotape it for him because he would want to watch it. Okay, so he would always want to watch it, so I would videotape it on the VCR. So I always try to watch it with him, and so I went home. My mom wanted to make some food. My brother and my sister came home as well. So we all were kind of the families together, and my mom made homemade meatball heroes.
Oh, that's interesting.
So she went homemade meatballs, put them on the Italian bread, fresh Italian bread.
Now, did everybody get like a personalized roll, or she just it was almost like a bunch of Italian bread and she just cut them up like that?
Yes. Cut up all the Italian bread. I think she got 3 loaves of Italian bread, fresh Italian bread, and then just kind of cut them up in a bunch, and then you just went up to this big pot with all the meatballs in it, scooped it out yourself, put as much salt.
A self-serving station for a meatball hero.
Yeah, so you could put 2 on there if you wanted.
I like that. That's creative. It's almost like I like when you go to the frozen yogurt places. You make your own. That's kind of like that. I like that.
Yeah, it was really good. And my mom is an excellent cook, especially when it comes to Italian, so that was fantastic. She made some like teriyaki chicken skewers as well, so that was solid. And then I actually was motivated by you.
Is that right?
What
did you do?
I wanted to utilize the crock pot on Super Bowl Sunday.
That's always a great move.
And remember, your Szechuan pork sliders had me thinking that if you put meat in there, no matter what, it's going to become real tender over the course of time.
The most unbelievable way to cook meat that's never used enough.
So I brought the crock pot. My parents actually don't have one, so I brought mine home. And I threw in chicken cutlets, like sliced up. So chicken breast, basically, sliced up into little strips, and I put it in there. And I put it in there with jalapeno peppers, fresh jalapeno peppers.
Ooh.
Cut them up, threw them in there, and then put a lot of Frank's Red Hot in there and some Tabasco.
Making like a homemade buffalo chicken.
Yes, homemade buffalo chicken, and I was going to put over nachos.
Oh, my freaking God. I'm dying here.
So I threw them in at about 11 or probably about 11 because I figured we would serve them maybe at halftime of the game.
It's a good move. That gives you a solid 8 hours.
Yeah, it was like 7 or 8 hours.
Okay.
And so
I would have thrown it in there about 9 a.m., but okay.
Yeah, I didn't get home that early, or I would have as well.
Okay.
And they ended up becoming really, really good. The jalapenos, it gave a huge kick to. And I ate a few jalapenos. Like, I love the hot stuff, just fresh.
Right.
And it, like, made my eyes start to water and
Here's
my
my
cheeks
question.
went flush.
How did the jalapenos taste cooking in the crock pot for that long?
Much better than if you just tasted them, just like if you cut them up fresh.
So they were a little soft and that kind of deal?
They were soft, and it took a little bit of the bite out of them, which was good.
Okay.
Because it was too overpowering if you didn't.
All right. And what kind of nacho chips did you use?
I went with white corn. I love white corn tortillas.
Okay. I'm more of a whole grain corn guy. Snyder's?
No, this was like one of those Mexican brands.
Good. That's good. I love Tostitos. Tostitos are great. I find Tostitos with nachos, though, to be a little tough. They break apart a little too easily. You need a more sturdy chip.
Exactly. It is sturdy chip. These were kind of like the restaurant cantina tortillas.
Excellent move.
So I put them in a big kind of tin, and then I spread them out evenly, and then I just poured the whole thing on top. And so you had hot, warm chicken in this kind of buffalo sauce with the peppers, and you know what? It's a winner. Oh, and I also, in the crock pot, put black beans. So it really had the Mexican kind of feel. So
did you sprinkle any cheese on top after?
I had the cheese on the side so that if people wanted the cheese, you could.
Boy, you guys really went self-serving stations
all over the place.
A lot of
self-serving stations, yeah.
Sounds like a wedding cocktail hour. I like. You guys went unique. You didn't go with the basic, which I like. I respect.
Yeah. We wanted to kick it up a notch. My mom likes to go off the board. So
I always respect that.
But the crock pot, you're right, it's so crucial if you want to make party stuff.
Listen, and I always saw my mom, when she did cook, she used a lot of the crock pot stuff, and that's where I got the crock pot intellectual, if you will.
Yeah.
But when we worked overnights, the crock pot became key, man, because
crucial.
I would put something in there in the morning, go to sleep, and sleep during the day. And then, I usually still had my dinner around dinner time, but that was like, brunch time, the way my body clock worked. But I was always too tired to cook or whatever. And there we go. I would have my meal basically cooked for me and ready to go, and it was cooking while I was sleeping. And that's where I discovered how, and I experimented with all these things. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
you can make anything great in there.
It's seriously, because you can experiment a lot by just throwing stuff in there and seeing what works.
Exactly.
And you don't have to babysit it.
Exactly. And if you strike out, you're usually not going to strike out to the point where it's unedible,
Right.
and you just know not to make it again if you don't like it. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to hit a home run. You'd be surprised.
Now, that being said, I feel like the guys we're working with are coming after you. I mean, you've got Ward, who you've talked about before. He's got an appetite. He's a bottomless pit, and he's not fat.
He's disgusting.
But he's bottomless pit at how much he eats.
It annoys me.
And he eats fried chicken like almost every night. I mean, it's kind of crazy what he eats and does not get fat over. And then you have Moralia, who's Steve-O, who's a real wild card, and he wants to take you down. He wants a real name on this show.
Yeah, it's something about him. He has like some edge with me. I don't know what it is.
I think he's just wired very tight anyway.
Could be.
He's a very disciplined guy. He likes his routine. And
by the way, preface this, good guy. Good guy. We like Steve.
Both great guys. But I think they're coming after you. And so now that football's done, I kind of feel like I'm looking for an event. And we talked about this in the last podcast.
Oh, shocking. You're looking for an event.
I'm looking for an event. I need my juices flowing with a competitive event. These guys want after you. I have an idea.
All right. You're an ideas guy. Let's hear the idea.
Guy. Do you know how there is a fast food joint of choice, fast food restaurant of choice that is now, they have this nugget special. They've got, I think, 50 nuggets for $9.99.
Yes, I have seen that.
Are you a nugget guy?
Big nugget guy, obviously. Love nuggets. How can you not? It's a food you fall in love with as a kid, and you can never be too ashamed to eat it as an adult.
I like nuggets as well. I like popping nuggets. I like, dipping the nuggets.
Right.
I think it's fun for the whole family. I think we need a nugget off. I think we need
a nugget off.
I think we need a chicken challenge.
A chicken challenge.
I think we need a chicken challenge.
You want to put me back in the competitive eating ring?
I want to put you back in the ring because you know what, Mraz?
Show pony going out for the trot?
Well, you're my guy, and we are the two, we're the two guys from the overnights.
Right.
And now we got all these new guys that think that they know what's going on. And
don't respect the game.
They don't respect where we came from. They don't respect our roots. They don't know. They don't know what our story was. And so I kind of feel like even though you bowed down to pressure against Badlands Booker.
Haven't competitively eaten since.
And even though you came up a little lame in the chicken wing eating competition now, essentially a year ago.
Right. I've had a couple duds.
You've had it. I don't like these guys coming after you saying, I could get. They're like the new gorillas at the Bronx Zoo that push out their chest and want to beat up the old gorilla. And I don't like that. I want them to respect the old gorilla.
So it's almost like they're Andrew Luck, and I'm still Peyton Manning, and I'm still going to hang in there.
Yeah, but it would be like if Andrew Luck was Richard Sherman or something. I mean, they're really trash-talking you.
You know, it's a good point. I hadn't let it affect me, and I hadn't really thought about a challenge too deeply. But you know what? I'll say this. For all those who have doubted me in my competitive eating game, and respectfully so, I understand. I flamed out in the March Madness, even though I didn't think I truthfully did. And I stood there shell-shocked versus Badlands Booker. He was a competitive eater. I have all the excuses in the book, mind you.
Yeah, I noticed.
Let's not forget, when it came time, I know this wasn't a true challenge, to eat the ghost chili salsa, I went back in for that.
Oh, that was solid.
I went back in. That was my last time I ate something on the show.
Yeah.
I manned up and went back in. So maybe that was like my spring training, if you will. Hold on, does he still have something here? And maybe this is what we need. Maybe I could put these guys in their place and they can, maybe it's good for my ego. They could bow down to me.
Well, I think there's a little magic left. I really do. I think you're Doug Flutie right now on the Bills. I think you've shown
Favre with the Vikings heading to that NFC Championship game.
I think you've shown that you're a champion before, but now you got young bucks and old writers, writing you off and saying that it's over. And listen, this has come from the podcast as well. Ward wants to take you down. That's very obvious. He's just bragging about how much he eats. And Moralia, I just don't think he respects your game. I really don't. I just don't think he respects where you've come from.
He doesn't.
He always just says that he doesn't respect fat people. And I'm not saying that you're fat. I think he looks at the world that way.
He does. He has a complex that needs to be solved.
And I need an event because there is no sports going on right now. There's no football. I think there has to be a chicken challenge. And I also want to kind of give the chicken challenge out to the listeners. I want to see how many you eat. I want to see how many those two bozos eat. And then I want to see how many our listeners can eat because everybody can eat nuggets.
Right, and then maybe they can kind of measure up to the true dictator.
I want to see. So I want to put this on video. I want to put it on YouTube. I want to give it out to all of our listeners, put it on Facebook or whatever. And then I want to see if anybody can, let's see what you do. Let's see what Moralia and Ward do. And then I want to see what our listeners do.
You make me the favorite, obviously, over Moralia and Ward.
I do. I've seen it eat. I don't know really what they can do. I will say both those guys have very interesting origin stories. And we'll get into those deeper if this does go off. Because I think they have very intriguing bloodlines here that we could go through.
Boy, the 6 hours of pregame leading up, we'll go in depth.
Yes, but I think we need to do this because I'm telling you, I just don't think they respect the game. And this is honest. I think Moralia and Ward heard about what we used to do on the overnights.
Right, sleeping while we did it.
I think they heard about it. They saw some stuff on Facebook. Some of our stuff went viral. But I don't really think they know. And I think now they're working with us and they're like, oh, yeah, these guys are fun. The show is fun. There's this and that. I think they appreciate where but I don't think they know the show. I don't think they know where we've been.
Good point.
And I want them to kind of like stop bragging and boasting and swinging, your stuff around. I want you to man up and let's see what you got. Let's see if you're actually worthy of working on the show.
I like that. And you know what? As you were talking about that and pumping me up, I thought of a big edge from here and a big angle. And that is the fact that whenever I did these challenges, you're right, I'm doing them in the middle of the night. My body's all screwed up. I've had a month to get healthy with my body here and get on a normal. So now the time we'd be doing this challenge would be a real dinner time. And I've sat down at Thanksgiving and torn through stuff. I sat down Super Bowl Sunday and torn through stuff. So now my real dinner time comes. If I'm sitting there and I'm ravaged and I'm hungry and I'm on good sleep, mentally I'm there, man, I think I could take back the competitive eating circle on the mothership.
I think you can too, and here's another thing. Don't you think we need to know where these two guys stand?
Yeah, early message.
I think we've gone through training camp, which is fine. OTAs they've done well in. They've aced the interviews. I think they did well in the Wonderlic. All these things. We haven't had real games yet, and I don't know where they stand when the bullets are really flying. I don't know who I can trust when the actual games are being played.
And it's not just about the eating, DA. You got to be an entertainer, too.
You got to bring something to the table.
Got to bring something to the table.
Remember our first hot dog eating contest? We had guys that wanted in. We had DeCelestino wanted it.
They're sitting there burping. They can only eat two.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm dribbling buns in between my legs
It was kind of a disgrace. And Moralia's talking a big game. Oh, I could do that. I like nuggets. I want in. And then you have Ward. I eat all this fried chicken. Or I eat this. I eat that. I eat this steak. And that's fine and good. You can eat dinner. You can do. If you are going to work on this show and really be part of the fabric, get in the ring, get in the octagon with Mraz, and let the world see what you do in a finite amount of time. And then if these guys get through, 18 nuggets and then they can't, then it was all talk.
Right.
And then at least I know who we have playing on this team.
You want to know who we have playing on this team?
That's right.
Boy, you really got a Bill Parcells complex.
I need to know.
You really do.
I need to know who I can trust on the goal line in the Super Bowl.
All right, well, we're going to make this happen. You know what you're getting out of me, Coach. You know what you're getting out of me.
Well, I used to.
No, don't pull that reverse tactic with me.
Tonight I don't have to do that. But let's face it, the last time you were in here, it wasn't that pretty. It was against Badlands. But
I'm back.
But I want to shut these young guys up. I want to shut the young pups up.
All right. Hey, that's good. Listen, they're better competition than Schwartz was. I'll say that.
All right.
Guy was there for the free dinner.
Ward's going to be joining you here next, right?
Yes.
All right. So James Ward will be joining Mraz here on the crossover on the side B. This is the Permission Granted podcast. And once again, subscribe to us on iTunes, on YouTube, and on SoundCloud.
All right. Welcome into side B of the Permission Granted podcast. This will be a little bit of a shorter side B as DA has really set the table, man. Like Vince Lombardi, Bill Parcells wants to know what he could get out of his troops. And James Ward, I'm going to bring in right now. James Ward, the assistant producer of the DA show. James, let's get right into it here. DA is throwing down the gauntlet, and now that football season's over, it's looking for a little challenge and wants to test the crew and knows that I'm a good eater, good competitive eater, and wants to throw you and Moralia in a ring with me and eat some McNuggets. Your thoughts?
I think you're a little nervous about that.
Come on, I'm not nervous, James. Please.
I am coming for your throne.
James, you can't.
In the few month of this show.
Few month
time period of this show.
Okay.
The month that we've been together.
That would just be one singular month, not few.
The few
Learn
months.
how to speak English.
All right. in the month that we've been together on the DA show,
Right.
I have made you envious of my eating ability.
Well, absolutely. I'll say this. You're an unbelievable eater. You can sit there, fork and knife your way through 4 dinners during the show. And it's not that I am envious because I'm jealous that you as a thin person could eat that much without gaining any weight. Now, if you're asking me, could I eat the same amount of you? Absolutely, but I would just gain the weight. I'm trying to be healthier and do all that. A true eater never loses eating ability, James. And in a situation like this, when the bright lights come on and I get to competitively eat, you can eat all the dinners you want. You're not going to beat me. You're not going to beat me.
I think I'm going to beat you.
Come on, James.
I know I could out-eat you.
James, I've out-eaten everybody on our show. The only person to out-eat me on the
but
DA
you've never
show
met
is the
anyone
Brother
like
Eater.
me. You've never met anyone that eats like me.
Have you seen Peter Schwartz? Schwartz can eat. He let us down in a couple of those contests, but I think I just out-muscled him.
I think Schwartz lacks the will.
Yeah, but so you're telling me now, DA's going to sit down, he's going to put 50 McNuggets or 50 chicken nuggets, whatever we eat. We're going to have 50 nuggets in front of us. You're telling me you're going to sit there and you're going to eat more nuggets than me in whatever the time period is.
Yes, I'm going to plow through them.
But see, you're a distance eater. I'm a speed eater.
But I think the 50 number encapsulates both the distance and the speed. You have to have a slow, steady. 50 is like a marathon. 50 is not a sprint.
Have you ever competitively eaten or just eaten like a slob?
I've just eaten like a slob for most of my life.
So you've never actually competitively eaten. See, I have competitively eaten in multiple contests now. I know what it takes. I'm not going to release any techniques. Have you watched any of our YouTube?
I've watched all of them, actually.
So you've seen some techniques. Are you going to take anything away from me, or are you going to try to do some opposite things than me?
I'm just going to go slow and steady.
And hope that I fizzle out?
You will fizzle out.
All right. Well, now let's talk about this. I'm not going to fizzle out. The other
At like nugget 32, you'll be sweating.
The other wild card.
Perspiration.
No, I won't sweat. Meat sweats I don't get from poultry. I get meat sweats from meat. If that makes any sense. Not from fish.
Meat
either.
sweats from meat.
I get meat sweats from meat. I don't get meat sweats from poultry. Steve Moralia is also going to be in this. Now, Steve will be the assistant producer on the shows, or has been the nights that you're not in. It's kind of like a split rep situation they have going on in our new time slot. He's a live wire. Does he sit there and eat as much as you? No. But I've seen him plow through dinners, and he eats very quickly. See, he's the opposite of you. He'll eat one big meal, and he'll eat some trail mix or something at some point, but he eats so freaking quickly, he's like a garbage disposal, that I think he could be a wild card in this event. And dare I say, because of the quickness he eats, he might pose a bigger threat to me than you do.
It would be very upsetting to me if I finish in third place in this thing.
See, I like that.
I think Moralia, he's a wild card, because obviously, we're on completely different schedules.
Right.
I don't think I've ever actually seen Moralia eat. I have no idea what I'm in for.
He ate some flat noodles or something the other night he got delivered. The guy basically engulfed him like he was Garfield eating spaghetti. It was unbelievable.
Lasagna.
Garfield ate lasagna.
Garfield was lasagna.
Somebody ate spaghetti. There was some kind of cat that ate spaghetti or somewhere. Maybe it was just the regular cat that ate spaghetti that I once saw eating spaghetti. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I don't know. But I like what you're saying there, too, that you'd be disappointed if you finish in third. Because we've had these events, and when Kenny was in them, Tom DeCelestino was in them, obviously with Schwartz in them, with the hot dog eating contests. And
Ray Martell was also a disappointment.
Right. We did a couple of those hot dog eating contests. And it always ended up being, other than Badlands destroying me kind of pulling away from the pack. And it was just more of a, oh, my God, how much is Mraz going to eat? And nobody really paid attention to the other guys. If I pull away from the pack, which I suspect I will again, because I always do, because I am the greatest competitive eater in CBS Sports Radio history, will you and Moralia be a noteworthy undercard to see who finishes in second, or is it just going to be, who cares?
No, I don't want to finish in last.
So I
want to finish in first.
You'll gun it to
I'm gunning to beat everyone.
You're not going to beat me. All right, here's the thing. If you were in Vegas right now and you were setting the line, objectively, me by how many nuggets?
I think you're still the favorite.
By a touchdown, 7 nuggets?
If we're talking time period,
let's say we have 10 minutes. We've done the 10 minutes or so on the hot dog eating.
7's a good number. 7 or 8 nuggets.
So you'd make me a touchdown favorite.
Yeah.
Touchdown. You wouldn't go 7.5? We'll leave the line at 7?
No, and I think I can easily get within 5.
So you would bet you plus 7 nuggets?
Yes.
Would you bet you on the money line?
Yeah, it's a good bet.
That's a good bet.
If it's plus 7, it's probably what?
And you consider yourself a favorite over Moralia?
Yes.
So let's say I'm plus, 12 on Moralia?
12 over Moralia.
So you could eat 5 more nuggets than Moralia. This is going to be interesting. We might have to play some wagers. And DA is going to have callers, apparently, from what I understand, do a little hashtag chicken challenge and have them send videos of them eating. This whole thing has a chance to be really, really interesting. I like that DA's adding a little bit of this. I think DA, sees here football's over. We need to get the competitive juices flowing before we have March Madness. Why not use the producers out there to show they're eating muscles? It's good. A little chicken, too. How unhealthy would it be, you think?
It depends. Are you eating the nuggets dry, or are you dipping everyone in a sauce? I can't eat nuggets without a sauce. I'm going to have some honey mustard, maybe a little barbecue.
Can you eat a nugget? Is every nugget you dip in this challenge going to be with sauce?
No, I could eat a couple nuggets, but
nuggets dry. I'm a firm believer in the sauce helps it smooth and liquefy down your throat.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, but you're not like doing the hot dog bun where you're like dipping it in water.
No. A nugget is an easy pop and go. But I suspect a little
couple
sauce.
chews, swallow it.
And I'll learn my lesson from the wing eating contest in that I won't use hot sauce or buffalo sauce because the burning kills you. I think the barbecue might have bothered me, but nuggets and barbecue is good. I think if I get a good mix of barbecue, ketchup, honey mustard, would there be a sweet and sour?
Sweet and sour, definitely.
I think.
Now,
how
many wings did you eat?
I think I ate around the 30 mark. They wanted me to eat like 68 or something for every
In what
team.
time period?
It was just throughout the whole, 2 games worth. And I fizzled out at 30, man. I'm pretty sure. I might have eaten a little more. I might have been like 35.
Wings?
Yeah, wings. 35 wings, something like that.
Now
But see, that takes work, though. I'm working the bone. I'm doing all that. Nuggets, no bone, pop and go.
But that's a comparable food amount to nuggets. A 1 wing to 1 nugget.
But I'm exhausting more energy.
See, I don't think you could physically eat 50 nuggets.
Do you think anybody can eat 50? I think I could.
Yeah, I know I can't eat 50 nuggets.
So you're telling me that you don't think I physically... James, have you seen me? What are you talking about? I can't physically eat 50 nuggets.
If you fizzled out on 32 wings?
But again, that's all on the bone. I'm nibbling on a bone there. It takes more work. Come on. And the hot dog, that's a lot more bun and bread. That we're literally just going nugget. Boom, boom, dink and dunk the whole time. I might be up 10 nuggets on you before you've eaten 2 because you might start daintily eating 2. I might hit you with a couple at the same time. You don't know what I'm going to do.
But I'm never going to stop. You're going to be chowing down your nuggets knowing that I'm never going to stop. I'm going to keep coming for you.
Okay, but that's fine. But once I hit the finish line at 50...
I don't think you can eat 50.
All right. Well, in due time. I want you to simmer on this. Think about this. I guess we're going to do this probably in about a week or 2. I get you. Will you eat nuggets beforehand? That's another question. Not that day, but will you...
I think it's the other interesting part for me is I don't think I've had 20 McNuggets in my entire life.
So will you do like a trial run?
Yeah, but that means I have to go to McDonald's.
All right, so you'd rather just be hit
I might
with
do a
surprise.
trial run just to see, get a 12-pack.
You don't want to be hit with a surprise on the taste or anything
and
like that.
what are the McNugget increments?
You could buy a 4, a 6, a 10, a 20, and a 50.
I think I could eat a 20 pretty easily by myself.
I've done a 20. I haven't done it in a couple of years, but I've done a 20 with fries.
Maybe I'll do that tomorrow.
With fries. All right. Well, there you have it. I mean, DA has set the tone here on what he's going to be calling the Chicken Challenge, and we're all in here. This is for you guys new to the new time slot in the audience. We've competitively ate on the show before, and I got to say, they've always been pretty freaking epic. So hopefully this one is epic as well. That's going to do it for the Permission Granted podcast. As always, you can follow us on YouTube, youtube.com/The DA Show, SoundCloud, iTunes, Facebook.com/The DA Show. We're everywhere. On Twitter, I am at Mraz CBS. James?
At James Ward CBS.
James is pathetic here at 800 followers. We got to get him to a
hook
grand,
me
guys.
up.
Please hook him up. Please. The guy is dying here. Thank you guys as always. And, hey, listen, #Chicken Challenge. Let's get the trash talk going.